With my first exam of third year 4 weeks away, it's time to get productive and start revising. Come along for my ideal routine as a busy medical student and my biggest tips to fit everything into the day. I always start my day between 7 and 7:30 and I love my Lumi, which mimics the sunrise and starts to light up the room, meaning I feel more awake and refreshed when I get up. Then pretty much every day, as soon as I'm up, I write in my 5-minute journal. I always notice a huge difference in my mental health when I do this, and it just helps me start the day with the best intentions. I love this one as it guides you through what to write with an inspirational quote, 3 things you're grateful for, 3 goals for the day, and your daily affirmations. Today's quote was, "Life is a journey, and if you fall in love with the journey, you will be in love forever." Of course, next I make my bed, a habit which is so simple but so important to boost your productivity for the rest of the day, and it means you accomplish your first task straight away, encouraging you to do another and another and another. Next, it's time for one of my favourite parts of the day as a huge breakfast person. Now, everyone always asks me how I always get up early, and one thing that definitely helps is I love getting up to have my breakfast. For me, I'm obsessed with these protein overnight oats, but finding a healthy breakfast that you enjoy is so important to give you the energy you need for the rest of the day. And as cliche as it is, breakfast really can be one of the most important meals of the day. So with a coffee from my beloved Nespresso machine, I always enjoy my breakfast with a bit of YouTube and time to relax before a busy day ahead. Now, one of the biggest tips I have is to time block your day. First thing before I do anything else, I go through my to-do list on Notion and schedule the day hour by hour to make sure I fit everything in. I also always come up with 2 non-negotiable tasks and create another list of general tasks which don't need time blocking or aren't as important. Now, as someone who has a very busy brain, I often have post-it notes with things I thought of during the night, which I also add to this list, and just like to get it all onto Notion so anything going on in my head is organised and that way can't stress me out. Today's non-negotiables were getting to the gym and starting revision for my first exam of third year. I then set a quick 15-minute timer to do any important emails, send any messages, and just little bits I needed to get done before starting work. I then got on with an hour of creating flashcards for my main modules this year. Of course, I always use my forest timer to keep me focused by planting trees for every hour of deep work time, and I also love listening to instrumental music in the background. At the moment, I'm on my liver rotation, so each day I like to pick a couple of conditions from my learning objectives to research using the online clinical Oxford Handbook and Bite Medicine to make my Anki flashcards on everything we need to know so they're there to use for revision. It was then time for a work break and I headed to the gym to do a glute activating warm up and a full body weight day, which I'm building up using progressive overload, and this is my favourite type of training at the moment. I then headed back, jumped in a cold shower to really wake my body up and got ready for the day. Now, today was one of those days where I chose to wear makeup, but by no means is this an everyday thing for me, but I do feel a lot more put together on the days that I do, and it literally only takes me 10 minutes to do this quick little routine. However, just remember this is only 50% of the time, and the rest I literally brush my hair and go to placement, but it's all about the yin and yang. So I'm now all ready and we're just about to head into a placement. I actually didn't have any teaching on until later today, which I always love because it means that I get to go to the gym in the morning and that just sets me up for the best day possible. Today we are having a proper get my life back on track, get organised, get productive, because I have my first in-person exam of third year in 4 weeks time, and that is for my statistics, evidence-based medicine module, and I just want to make sure by the end of the day I'm really sorted, got a revision plan, and we just do the hardest part, which is actually starting. But before that, we do have a day on placement. I've got teaching with some of the junior doctors, also the 5th years, which I'm not entirely sure what that is on. I will fill you in later, but let's get cracking and get over to the hospital. After getting my meal prep, which I always make 5 boxes of on a Sunday to have for lunch every day, so it's really quick and simple to grab something healthy out of the fridge, I also make a coffee to have with my lunch, which most of the time does get slightly cold. However, it is way better than having to pay cafe for a Costa. I then stick on a podcast and walk over to the hospital. We had our first set of teaching on respiratory in our small firm of 5, which was split in 2 this year, and do a lot together and also have the same base wards. This one by the junior doctor was mainly lecture based with cases to work through together. I then had my lunch with everyone in the common room before heading onto the wards for the rest of the day. After 5th year teaching and seeing some more patients, I then snuck off for my laser hair removal appointment, which fortunately isn't very far from my placement. So I'm just at eSkin for my first laser hair appointment. I have to say, I'm a little bit nervous about how much it's going to hurt, but I'm so excited, and it's so cute here. They've got all the Christmas bits up as well, and it just makes it that bit more cozy. So I've got my little protective glasses, and wish me luck, I'm going to fill you in on all about it. So I feel like that was all a little bit chaotic, but I've just got back in from my first laser hair removal appointment, which I'm doing over at a clinic called eSkin in Birmingham, and I absolutely love it there. It took me so long to find them, and I'm going to do a proper in-depth review of the whole clinic and my experience when I'm a little bit further in, because obviously I didn't know what today entailed. But anyway, that is where I scooted off to after placement. But we actually had a really productive day in the hospital. We saw a gentleman with some really bad diabetes signs and did a peripheral vascular exam on him with our 5th year, and then it did some respiratory teaching as well. So really helpful. I need to now just consolidate everything that I've learned. I'm not gonna lie, it is now 5:30, and this is always the point in the day when I get back in and back from placement where I really feel my productivity slipping. All I want to do is get into my bed and go on my phone. However, for me anyway, these couple of hours before dinner are crucial to just catch up from the day and also get started on things like revision, which was on my non-negotiables for today. So we are absolutely starting EBM revision tonight. A couple of things I find really helpful are getting into my cozies, getting a cup of tea. I always love a lemon and ginger tea when I'm just trying to focus. I find it wakes me up a little bit as well. I mean, I think it might be a bit of a placebo effect, but you know, it works. And then just get started. The minute I decide to sit in my bed and go on my phone, it's so much harder to get up and work again. So straight away, I sit at my desk, set a timer and get going. Mentally, I know I only have 2 hours of important work before I treat myself to an entire evening off to relax. So breaking it down into my hardest and easiest tasks keeps me focused for longer. Today, EBM revision was the task I wanted to do the least, so I always start with this before I'm too tired to do it. When it comes to revising, it's so important to have a plan. I break down mini goals of how far I need to be to keep on target, to have everything done before the exam, and also leave enough time for just practice questions and not new content. Then add these dates to my diary. I then get started with my pre-made Anki cards, which I always make as I go along from the lectures and my own work, so they're all ready to use during revision season. After a quick 10-minute brain break, I then get on with my second hour of work, which is just consolidation from what I've seen and done on placement, adding to my clinical examination notes on Notion and editing my Anki flashcards on the conditions I've seen that day, before making a proper cosy dinner and sitting down with the house. So I've just come back upstairs from dinner and we were just watching The Holiday as a House, which is one of my favourite Christmas films ever. I love this time of year and I cannot wait for so many more festive vlogs. I also have so many lovely things coming up for Christmas, despite having an exam on the 16th, which is why I wanted to start nice and early so I wasn't feeling stressed. And after today, I feel way more organised. My head is a lot clearer and I know what I'm doing with revision. I have all of my plans scheduled as well to make sure I can fit it in and it's not stressing me out or ruining Christmas, because there'd be nothing worse than that. Anyway, now I'm just going to really relax and wind down to make sure we get a good night's sleep. I'm just about to go and do a little bit of yoga to just completely switch my brain off and make sure I start relaxing. Yoga or meditation is so important for me before bed to make sure I properly switch off from the day and get a good night's sleep. I love Yoga with Adrienne's bedtime yoga, and she's really good to ease yourself into it if you've never tried anything like this before. I then wash off my makeup, have a shower and do my evening skincare routine, which consists of the rain cleanser, night moisturiser and eye cream, and I go over everything with a gua sha to tighten the skin. I then add my Charlotte Tilbury serum and of course castor oil on my lashes and brows. Now, since having my lash extensions over the summer, I've really been trying to grow my natural lashes back, and castor oil has literally worked wonders, and they're now so long and healthy. I then get into bed and fill in the evening section of my journal, read my book and get to sleep, ready to do it all again tomorrow. I really hope you've enjoyed it coming along for the day, and it would mean so much if you could like and subscribe if you did. And I hope you'll have an amazing rest of your week, and I'll see you all so soon. Bye!